Hey guys, welcome. So this is our first episode, and I've got two planners today, Jess and Autumn.
Hey.
So can you guys tell us a little bit about your company and what you guys do and what you're all about?
Yeah. So my name's Jess. I started my planning company 3 years ago, post-COVID era, if you will. COVID kind of taught me a lot about the life that I was currently living. You know, why am I waking up every day doing what I'm doing? Is it fulfilling? Is it not? Is 70 hours a week fulfilling? And the answer was no. So what was fulfilling was weddings, and that's what I always wanted to do. So I made the leap and quit my corporate job, and then 3 months later, I started my planning company. And I basically utilized the relationships that I had built for the last 9 years in the other industry I was in, moved into the wedding industry, and here we are.
Nice. And then Autumn, can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, so I started Opal Grove Events a year ago, but I actually was lucky enough to stumble upon Hearth House working with Jess almost 2 years ago. So I've been here a little bit longer than I've had my own company name, but I have Opal Grove Events, but I am primarily here at Hearth House venue. So that's kind of how I got into things.
Sweet. Yeah, and by the way, we're at Hearth House. I didn't even introduce that.
Yeah.
Well, first episode, getting it out of the way with, right? So, so you during COVID, right? So you started during COVID. How did you go about starting during COVID? That's like the worst time to start, isn't it?
Basically, relationships are very important to me, especially being in the industry. I have a catering background, and when I was in the catering industry, I met a lot of venue owners, a lot of really important, great people, and kept those connections strong. So when I started my own company, I basically utilized those relationships to basically get in and start my business and helping clients and taking care of the venue and just doing what I love. So utilize that. Chris, the owner of Hearth House here, I met her before I even knew I met her, which is another story for another day. But it's weird how the stars just aligned, and she asked me to come on board to start the all-inclusive package here at the venue. And since I had a good standing relationship with all of these vendors in town, I was the right person for the job, I guess you could say.
Nice.
So that's one of my key jobs here is making sure our vendors are being taken care of, making sure our clients are being taken care of by the vendors, and just a well-oiled machine at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Nice.
Yeah.
And then Autumn, can you go into how you got associated with Hearth House as well, maybe?
Yeah, so I actually did a wedding for a friend here. So I had a friend that I went to high school with, but she was also a co-wedding planner. And she couldn't be the planner of her own wedding, so she asked me to step in for the day of stuff.
Nice.
And Jess was here working for the venue that night, so she kind of got to see me in action. And it was a good wedding, but definitely pretty far on the DIY side. So I think that that specific situation I was really lucky in that I got to, show how I guess I can make a non-well-oiled machine still be pulled off, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
And yeah, that was just, the stars aligned in my night that way.
Yeah.
So after that, Jess, offered me to come on board, and I took a little bit of time, and then eventually
First, she turned me down. She said no, and she went and worked somewhere else.
I had this other offer that was very like everything you think you're looking for, like 9 to 5 benefits, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But we both have kids now. I have 2 kids, and it was not doable, and it was a terrible working environment. So I came crawling back.
Yeah.
Basically.
Nice. And how long have you been, I don't know if you already covered this already, but how long have you been working here, I guess?
I'm coming up
with
on, it's been like a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Year and a half?
this spring, like end of spring, summer will be 2 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. So speaking of DIY,
DIY.
Wow, totally
Do it
inverse
yourself.
that.
Yeah.
Do it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it. So speaking of, I'm not even try it again. But speaking of that, what are the first steps? What are the first steps? You just got engaged, right? Mm-hmm. So what are the first steps that brides or grooms or the couples should take?
Speaking from experience, just chill and enjoy being engaged for, a little while.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be always asking, what's your plan? Where are you going to get married? All the things. And it can just be really overwhelming. So just take it in. And then more importantly, just don't lose sight that it's you and your fiance getting married, and your opinions are the only one that matters, right? And then from there, have the serious talk about budget. And money is important. It's important to talk about. And once you get that figured out, then at that point, you can start venue shopping. And I'm not speaking, on behalf of the venue, I guess, because we are the venue, right? But your venue, wherever you book, should be able to take care of you for all of your wedding planning needs.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if you're looking for a planner, if you're looking for a caterer, you can't hire those vendors until you know where you're going. Where are you going to get married?
Yeah.
If you're going to get married in Florida, well, then you're not going to hire a caterer in Colorado, right? So, starting there first.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add to that? Anything?
Would you guys start planning before engagement session? Like, would you find your venue before an engagement session? Like, if, let's say a photographer, right? Which one would you do first, engagement session or I have my thoughts on it, but I'm curious to see what you guys think.
If I didn't work in this industry, I would probably go get engagement photos first.
To announce. I think it would definitely depend a little bit though on what time frame people are thinking.
Sure.
Because with here, we're talking about this yesterday, you don't need 2 years to plan a wedding at this venue. And of course we can't speak to everything. Like if you are having a destination wedding, in Cozumel, Mexico, of course you're gonna need more time to do that. But if you are coming here to get married and you're local, you could do it in 4 months.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a deciding factor. Some of our couples will come to the venue or to surrounding places like Mount Hermon or Monument Lake and do their engagement pictures
Right
around the venue. So, and you wouldn't know that if you didn't choose your venue first.
Yeah, actually just piggybacking off that real quick. That's I would probably do the venue first because as a photographer and videographer, sometimes you're going to go out of state. If you know that you're going to stay in state, then sure. You do your engagement photos first and then do the venue. Because you don't know if the photographer is going to be where you're going to get married, and the photographer's going to have fees to go travel, right?
Right.
So you're going to want to make sure that you're getting an idea of where you're going to get married first, at least a general idea, so that you know I should probably get a photographer in Colorado, or maybe we're not going to use our engagement photographer for our wedding, so we're going to have to go find somebody and pay them to do that, but it's not going to match our wedding photos, or it's not to try out the photographer. I really recommend trying a photographer.
I redact my
original
statement.
But I can definitely see getting engagement. We got our engagement photos, my wife and I got our engagement photos done before we found our venue. So, but we knew we were going to get married in Colorado.
See, yeah.
So it could go either way. You just got to think about it. It's really case by case. So,
because a lot of photographers now are doing book us for a wedding and get your engagement photos for free or for $1 and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard, like she was saying, to book a photographer unless you have a venue. So I feel like it really is case by case.
Yeah. And even sometimes a photographer can help, but I would probably go more towards you guys to help find venues and whatnot. So what is step 2? So that's step 1, right? So what would be step 2 in planning your wedding? What would be that next step that you should take after? So you find a venue, right? Now what? So what would you guys typically do? So you guys work a lot here at Hearth House. So what would be your next step? What would you bring the couple? What's the next step, I guess?
Specifically for Hearth House? Is that?
Sure. Yeah, we can talk very specific to Hearth House.
Okay.
And kind of let's break down your guys' process, right?
Sure. So a couple comes in, they tour, they book the venue. At that point, the all-inclusive package is here at the venue, available if they want it. But they're more than welcome to bring in their own clients. And
so wait, what does all-inclusive mean? Let's just break that down. Pretend I'm a couple. What do you mean by all-inclusive?
Yeah. So it's 7 key. We call them. It should be called 7 key vendors now. So we have the 3 key vendors, is what we call them: your planner, your caterer, and your bar. So those are your 3 key vendors of your event. Without one of those, it's going to be maybe a little messy. They all play very important roles. But at our venue, we have planner included, caterer, bar service, DJ, pastry, floral, linens, event insurance. So everything you could possibly need except for a photographer, videographer, officiant, and hair and makeup. Those are usually like the 4 key people that people want to pick on their own.
Yeah, sometimes, that's like taste.
Style.
Yeah, it's style. Exactly.
And also, I don't want to be responsible for someone's wedding photos.
Yeah.
Recommending them to somebody, it's a gray area.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they got to pick the right style for them too. There's like those like when I was first starting in videography, I was like the budget videographer, right? So I get a lot of couples coming in that I'm like, yeah, like I'll shoot everybody's wedding, but then I started to realize like I'm not for everybody. Like I've got to be like I got to establish my style and be like this is my style and just embrace it. But like I can't book every couple. Like some couples, they're just not right for me.
Right.
So
and you're not going to win them all. And that's the same way here. Not everyone will book here, but we don't want everybody. We're not for everybody, right?
Yeah.
We're for a specific clientele, and we're speaking to those clients now. Before, I think when we first started, we weren't really sure what direction we were supposed to be going in, who's our ideal client. But after going through a couple wedding seasons and figuring out what it is that we do and what do we do well, I feel like now we know who our ideal client is. So so that is also really helpful. But yeah, once someone comes into the venue and they book, they can book the venue without doing the all-inclusive. So they can just book the venue, check that off their list. If they want to book the all-inclusive package a couple months after they book here, it's there for them to use it. But they don't have to. We encourage them, right? Just
so is it like this? Is it discounted? Like a good?
Heavily discounted. So we do, it's important, when you're venue shopping, every venue out there has an all-inclusive package, right? That was the trend 2 years ago. And so all of us jumped on that. So we all built an all-inclusive package. AIP is what it stands for. But, in return, we're keeping all 7 of our vendors constantly busy every single weekend. I mean, come busy season, end of May, we have 5 weddings a week sometimes 6. So it's very important to us to keep our rates low. So we are keeping everyone consistently busy. I think American dream is to work less and make more. But that's just not our philosophy here. We want to provide an affordable space because weddings shouldn't cost so much.
So how do you guys do that then? How many planners do you have to do 6? Do you guys work all 6 nights or
we've structured it differently now, but there's 6 planners now in the package, and they're all independently owned. They all own their own companies. But we keep everybody so busy here. There's no need for them to go anywhere else or plan anywhere else. So the planners that are in our package here, they know the venue like the back of their hand. They know all the good recommendations. They know all the quirks and the do's and the don'ts. We try to have our planners be here at least once a week. Not more than that if we can help it, because no one wants to work a back-to-back wedding.
I mean,
those are the worst.
I did 3 back-to-back in 20, or a couple of them actually in 2021, and it was like jumping around. I had to drive late night, get to the next wedding, and I just crashed at a hotel.
You can always tell who's a newbie in the industry when they're working 4 weddings in a row. You're like, you must be new here. Come talk to me next season and you tell me.
You're going to have the wedding hangover.
Because by the 3rd or 4th wedding, you're just zero gas, and it's just not, you're not setting yourself up for success for your client. You're just hurting yourself. So don't do that. Know your means. So, sorry, we kind of got off topic there.
Oh yeah, we went a little tangent there. So, let's go back in, and what's the 3rd step? I'll let Autumn take this one maybe because.
The 3rd step.
Putting you on the spot, right?
I feel like after you have your venue, planning us being so fortunate to be here at Hearth House is of course what my mind's going to.
Well, go ahead and talk about that. That's perfectly fine. Because there are gonna be couples that are watching this that maybe they're finding a venue like this, or maybe they're finding Hearth House, right? So maybe they're interested in Hearth House. So what would you do next in that that process, that step.
So if you choose to do the all-inclusive package, the nice thing about the package is that and this is what I tell couples, they're basically choosing their venue. And to backtrack a little bit, because we wanted to mention this, we don't recommend touring 5 venues in one day. It's just too much.
Yeah.
All of the information will just start to overlap and merge together, and you won't remember what the getting ready spaces look like at the first venue that you looked at, or what they look like at the last venue you looked at. So I think that it's important to see what's out there, quote unquote, if you want to. We do have couples that will have, 4 venue tours booked and then come here and fall in love and just know that it's right, and then book here and cancel the other tours, which is okay. I think that we like to share that with couples, because if it's almost like when you find the one you're going to marry, like when you know.
Yeah.
And it's okay to not keep looking if you don't feel like you absolutely have to. But if you're going to, just for the experience, there are some couples that come in and I'm like, yeah, I get it. It's fun to just go look at pretty things, because you can. Yeah. So if that's part of the experience that you want to do, then, go through that, take good notes, and don't do more than like 2 in a day, because it is a lot of information. But at the same time, there's just so many different factors in each case-by-case basis. But once you do choose your venue, if you choose the all-inclusive package, the nice thing is you're taking yourself from the process of what you just did with all of your venues, going and meeting people and vetting them and figuring out when they're available and figuring out what the payment plans are and all these different things. And you're fast-forwarding yourself through doing that with 7 key vendors, and you get to take yourself from that and repeating that process with every key service you need for your wedding. And then you get to go to the fun part, which is like making the invitations and doing your wedding website and picking your colors for your napkins and doing floral consultations and tasting food and all those things. So the package really takes you from that like almost interview portion of your wedding to the fun part of it. Now, if you're doing DIY, the next thing that you should probably do is figure out who's going to cater your wedding. At most Colorado venues, and the ones that don't usually end up with not so stress-free weddings, require full-service catering. So that's going to be, the biggest portion of your budget. So it's really
you got to feed everybody who comes, right? Yeah, it's a big wedding. You got to feed a lot of people, right?
Yeah. So figuring out who's going to cater, I would say, would be the next thing that I would go to. If you're not doing the all-inclusive package.
Yeah, I mean, my wife and I did basically an all-inclusive package as well. So, and it took so much stress off. Like, I see these couples, like I've seen some weird catering scenarios too, just as you're talking about too. So it's like, it's like it wasn't the best caterer, it wasn't what they thought it was, or they maybe went a little bit cheaper, and maybe like the guests weren't happy or something like that, So it's like all-inclusive and catering, definitely. I can see catering being one of the biggest things, right? One of the biggest struggles to get over.
It's I would say for sure, one of the vendors that always is kind of overlooked by.
You forget about it, right?
By somebody, like if you're a bride or groom and you're not in the industry and you haven't experienced the food industry, you're just gonna think that it's whatever, the catering's whatever, but truly it's one of the most important vendors.
Yeah, it really is.
For sure.
Because I mean, like, back in the olden days, as they say, like sharing a meal with someone is a really important thing. And so if the food sucks and it's like banquet hotel food.
Or if your servers that are clearing plates on the floor smell like cigarettes.
Exactly.
So I just, everyone's always going to want to do it their wedding their way. And we know that. And so our all-inclusive package is customizable. So if you're looking at the list and you're like, oh, geez, my Aunt Sally can do the cake. Well, that's fine. We can remove the cake credit. Whatever. Aunt Sally can make your cake. That's fine. Why would you want to put her through that? I don't know. That's okay. Aunt Sally can make your cake.
Our own family members. I have so many. So I could go on a whole podcast about like photographers I've worked with, and like, so you're the aunt of the.
It's always very obvious. But I mean, even with like the catering part being in our package, the nice thing about it is that you still get to choose what's on the menu. So our package is exactly like you said. It's very customizable, which I think is really unique to our venue. I think that when people are doing venue tours, that they should really be cautious and aware of venues that are breaking out pricing into 35 different steps. Because then it's harder to plan, right? If you're getting like this range that's a $50 range per person, and then all of the after the fact expenses like service fees and taxes are
Yeah.
apart from what they're quoting you. Like those are important things to keep account of because, you know, trying to
adds up.
budget. Yeah, exactly. It adds up so fast, and trying to budget for things that you don't know. Like if you have 100 people versus 150 people, and let's say it's $65 a person, just, you know, shooting numbers, that's going to be a big difference when it comes to the percentage service fee.
Yeah.
So I think that that's one of the things I really like about our venue is that it's really straightforward. We don't do that. We just tell you exactly what the amount is, and it includes all of the costs.
Yeah.
So I think that's something to be aware of, because even like caterers and different vendors will do that.
Or even if you're like, we're getting it a lot right now, 2025 and 2026 inquiries, where couples have it in their mind, which it could be true depending on where you book, but if I book now, I'll lock in the rate for 2024.
Yeah.
But my wedding's not till 2026. So if a client was to do that here, obviously they're locked into their rate at the venue. But what we will tell them from a venue standpoint is make sure you're reading the fine print of your contracts, because for catering, 100%, I'm sure they're going to have a clause in their contract that says pricing is subject to change until 6 months from event date.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because food costs can go up. Inflation's going to keep happening. So no one in their right mind is going to lock you in at that set per person rate when you're booking 2 years in advance, unless obviously you're booking a contract with your venue and you're locking it in.
Which is what you do.
Which is what you do which is what you do here. I can't speak for every other venue out there. I hope other venues out there are doing the way that we're doing it. But we've just been on the other end of it, you know, the consumer end of it. And nothing is worse when you're shopping for stuff and you have this budget. And so you reach out to these people because they are in your budget, but then when you get the contract, it's like, oh, just kidding.
The hidden stuff you never think about when you're planning your wedding. Like you're always paying more than you think, I feel like, with a wedding. How many people, what like percentage do you guys think actually do the like all-inclusive? And what percentage, like, it doesn't have to be exact.
No, we know.
Yeah.
Oh, you know? Wow, okay, there we go.
Like 98% of our couples that book here do the all-inclusive.
98? That's a lot.
And honestly, even the 3 DIY weddings we had last year, it was funny. At the final walkthroughs, Autumn does the final planning meetings with all the clients. So the client and their planner come and we finalize timeline and floor plan and all of that. Yeah. And the clients hired pretty much everybody in the all-inclusive package.
But they paid the market rate.
Pay the market rate.
No.
So it's just, you know, it's the stigma in the wedding industry. You know, you're getting married, and just because you're getting married, everyone's going to jack up their rates. That's the stigma. And I feel in the wedding industry, and we know that, and we just we have a heart for people. Our tagline should be the heart of Hearth House is kind of what it is. So our vendors are the heart of Hearth House. But we all strive to be transparent and be budget friendly for those couples, because wedding planning shouldn't cost literally an arm and a leg, and you shouldn't have to feel like you have to go sell a kidney. But you know, people that book the AIP here, it's because they trust us. That you are trusting in your venue, that they are hiring you the best catering team, the best DJ, the best planners, and it speaks for itself. And all the vendors we have here are just so great. We're really, really lucky.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
And then on top of that,
they know who they are.
Yeah.
Yes. If they're watching.
Yeah. And then on top of that, like them having Jess and I, because we're like the internal part or part of the internal part of Hearth House, we are, and Chris, the owner, everyone's best advocates. And I think it's really, really big to have someone that's familiar with the wedding industry, because that's another thing is like, you know, usually it's people's first time getting married.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they're putting their foot into waters that they're unfamiliar with, and everyone does their best to do the research, but unless you're like actually in it every single day, like Jess and I are, and the team is, that, you know, you're going to come across bridges that you just have no idea, like all of the different things that are going to be important. So I think it's really nice here to have really good advocates, and that's exactly what we do for couples, is we advocate on their behalf.
One of my brides yesterday commented on my Instagram post, and she's, you know, saying all these nice kind words. And then she said, also, thanks for putting the flowers or dissecting a bridesmaid's bouquet and putting flowers on my cake. I didn't even know that happened until after the fact.
Oh, really?
And so, it's just like the little things that only a seasoned planner would know. Like, oh, this cake looks terrible. What am I going to do to fix it? Not having the attitude of, not my job. I'm not the pastry chef. I'm not going to put flowers on that cake. No way. Your bartender doesn't show up. Great. I'm tip certified. Let's slang some beers. Like your catering staff. Oh, they're sick. Okay, great. Let's replenish some Schaefer's. I don't know. So I started out in the catering industry, and I'm a firm believer that if you want to be successful in the industry, you should start out in the catering industry.
Yeah.
So if anyone out there wants to be a wedding planner, you should start out in the catering industry. Be a server. You're going to learn it from the ground up. You're gonna see the weddings. You're gonna work 16-hour days and make $12 an hour. It's gonna be really hard, but it is so rewarding. And you're gonna see so many different cool places and meet a lot of people and just really get a feel for the whole event in its entirety. So. Okay, guys. So what is step 4? What would you recommend for step 4? In the next process after so now you have all your vendors, right? You have your core 7. Is that what we called it? Yeah. Core 7? Yes. 7 key vendors.
7 key, that's what you guys called it. 7 key vendors. So now we have our 7 key vendors, and we've got, we're ready to go, kind of. Now what's the next step? Next step, you want me to go?
Sure.
Okay. So yeah, you have your 7 vendors. The next step is have a planning call with your planner and start talking about who do you have hired and who do you still need to hire? I love it when I get AIP clients, all-inclusive clients, that's what that stands for. When I get AIP clients and they don't have a photographer or they don't have a videographer or an officiant, I like recommending my clients to a vendor that I've worked with before. Yeah. Because it's always so great when I'm working with a photographer that I love or an officiant that knows my style of rehearsal and I don't have to explain to her 100 times on how I like to do things. So I like when clients trust the planner, that the planner is recommending them the best vendors. So have that chat with your planner, photographer, officiant, videographer. Sorry, I should have said videographer first. No, it's fine. We do photo too, so. Cool. Videographer, officiant, photographer, and then transportation. Yeah. So I would say it's 50-50 on people that need transportation here at this venue. Oh, yeah. What amenities do you guys have here? Like, you guys have, changing areas, right? So, the getting ready spaces. Do you guys own that cottage down the street? Yeah. Okay, yeah, because I remember shooting here and we had that like a little cottage down there. So that's like typically the bridal suite, like getting ready area? Yeah, one of them. Okay. Yep, nice. So we have the cottage and then we have the lounge. So we have those 2 spaces. Access is always 10 o'clock in the morning, the day of the wedding. So hair and makeup. I feel like that's actually pretty early. Yeah. So that's good. That's pretty standard unless they have a sunrise ceremony and you need to get them there at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's obviously negotiable. How many sunrise ceremonies do you guys do? We haven't done one yet. I'm kind of bummed about it. So this is a good place for it.
Early though.
I know. Yeah. Too early. Like at 10 o'clock, 10:30. Before, but so we have the getting ready spaces and access through there all night. So yeah. I'm worried about the microphone. Step 5, all right.
Step 5 is going to be finalizing stuff. Yeah. So getting your RSVPs in, tracking down those people that.
When did we talk about when they should send invites?
No.
Sure, let's talk about when they should send invites.
Yeah, so many different things. Okay, so if you're planning a wedding a year in advance, I always tell couples, send your save the dates as soon as you have your date. Yeah. You don't have to have your ceremony time on your send the dates. You just have to have your date and your address of your venue.
And a photographer. Or somebody with a phone. I guess you don't have to have a photo of the save the dates.
I think the save the dates, are just like a postcard. Just like a cute little font and logo, Yeah.
Oh, the invitation, you want the photo.
The invitation, So if you're planning a wedding,
I don't think we even did a save the date, my wife and I.
Oh, yeah.
We just said,
some people do. Like, there's some people that like they're not local, and so they'll book their venue 2 years in advance. Like those couples, like yes, and save the dates, so everyone can plan to travel. But if it's like in 6 months or less that you book your wedding date, then send invitations like 4 to 5 months, I would say, don't you think, before the wedding, since you're not doing save the dates, and make your RSVP date at least 45 days before your wedding, if not like 60, depending on your
I
guest
always
count.
like work backwards. So like, you're getting married on October 1st. So then September 1st would be 30 days out. And then somewhere like 2 weeks before 30 days, we're going to have that final planning meeting. So if I were you, I would have my final RSVP deadline September 1st. So then that way you have like 2 weeks to call these people or text them and be like, listen, are you coming or what? Because I have my planning meeting in 2 weeks.
Because trust me, when you send out the like RSVPs, when I got married, it was so hard to get the RSVPs back. You had to like literally like call people, text them, like talk to them in person, be like, are you coming? And you had to do it like yourself. You had to like check it off or whatever. So you're gonna have to leave time.
Manage your people,
to call them, to manage it, to make sure you have the right budget, right? So because the budget will change based on how many people you have typically, right? Am I right there? Okay, So
we always like to budget for kind of worst case scenario here. And kind of meet them in the middle. So if they're like 150, we'll say, okay, 125, that's a good number. But what we don't want somebody to do is come to their final walkthrough meeting here and then their guest count goes up 40 by 40 people. That can have a serious impact to your final payment. So we try not to do that to people.
And you have like limits on venues too. Like you can only sit so many people inside of a venue, right? I mean, like, you're probably talking really big weddings. Like this is a pretty decent sized floor right here. So do you guys know your
250 is our
That's a big
max
wedding.
capacity. But in a realistic setting, we would never truly want to do 250 seated, because then that means there's no space if the bar has to be inside because of bad weather. There's no space for dancing.
That's huge. Dancing, you definitely want space for that.
Because nothing is worse than like being at a wedding and the caterer is like, excuse me, sorry, I have to take away your table. And you're like, I'm sorry.
You guys have nowhere to sit now.
Where are my things going to go?
You have to dance, no choice.
I've seen that so many times. I'm like, no.
So what we'll do here is we'll try to set the table strategically so that way there is an open space on the floor, and that way we're not having to inconvenience people. But obviously, we have Plan B in place for many reasons. So,
So locking in final details, your final guest count, confirming things with your vendors, making sure you have all your personal touches like your cake cutting set and your guest book and that kind of stuff.
My wife mainly took over a lot of that stuff for me. I'm very grateful for that. Because there were things that I totally would have totally forgotten, like the guest book and all this stuff. And my wife's like on it, and she's like getting everything ready and everything like that. So she was a huge help for that kind of stuff. But how do you go about booking those outside vendors? So, like, what would be your guys' suggestion? Like, this venue is like for a certain person, right? So actually, really quickly, what kind of person would you guys say this venue is for mainly? I mean, there's like a variety of people. It's probably a pretty big, broad section, but
I would say our ideal couple is anyone obviously newly engaged who's looking to get married in Colorado, close to the mountains, but not in the mountains with the mountain wedding price tag, right?
Wedding price tag and the crazy weather that can happen up there. It's super cold.
And the further up, that's another podcast too. The further up you go, the more expensive things are, right? Everyone knows it. So, location. If you want that mountain feel to a wedding venue, but not paying those venue mountain fees.
Because Mount Hermon's like a mile away from here, right? Probably
Mount
about a mile.
Hermon is one of the best locations for offsite photos here. And then, anybody that's looking to get married in a beautiful space, right?
The nice thing about our venue is that it's great for pricing, and with people with a bigger budget, it gives them the ability to do more things and spoil their guests more. So like have, like those fancy little like camper photo booths, and do videography packages, like those extra like spoil themselves.
Late night snacks,
ice cream trucks, live watercolor portraits for favors, like all that stuff that, you don't think about like in the beginning stages, but if you have a bigger budget, at this venue, it makes it a little bit easier to do those things.
To have those like couple extra things.
We do have our family favorite vendor list too.
Oh yeah, nice.
We have our
Oh
vendor
yeah,
list.
ask your planners definitely for like a vendor list. I don't think we even talked about that.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that's like very important for those outside vendors. Yeah, they typically have a giant list. People, sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt you.
Yeah.
but,
No. Always defer to your vendor team for recommendations
Yep.
on who else they want to work with. And I'm sure you can attest to this. If you're working with a photographer and you're shooting video and you are working with somebody and you guys have worked together, you're just going to work so much better together.
Yeah,
Because
and-
you know
yeah.
each other's styles and you're not going to feel like you're getting in their way. Or
I can't tell you how many photographer issues I've had when I was working because normally I'm always shooting video and then sometimes I'll shoot video and photo. But when I've like had other photographers, sometimes they'll just step right in front of my camera or something. I'm like, I was shooting like.
yeah, hi, me.
I'm making that video for the couple over there. I'm not making it for you over here. So you definitely have some like issues with like courtesy. I mean, like you got to have a team that works well together. It's like a whole wedding vendor team, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very important to have all the vendors on the same page. Like I work really closely with the DJ when I'm doing video. Like that's huge because I always like to tap into their system to grab the audio for all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's definitely very important to have that. I have a question, or you guys have anything else you want to add really quick before I ask the question? This is like
our
a
family
final
favorite
question.
vendor list is a great place to start. And like you were saying, if you ask your planner can give you recommendations based off of your budget too.
Yeah.
So like if you were like, you know what, I want to spend $3,000 on photography, well then we're not going to send you to a $6,000 photographer because that's wasting your time and it's wasting their time.
Yeah.
Right.
But like we're all saying, like I always tell brides and grooms, good Lord, that how your vendor team gets along. It definitely changes the environment.
Yeah.
So we all have, photographers that we've worked with or videographers or DJs or whoever that we did not enjoy the time with. And a lot of the times the unfortunate thing is the couple is going to feel that.
The tension.
If the vendors are not working well together, if it's not like they're not jiving, it's just going to change the environment of your wedding.
Oh,
so
yeah,
if you get a lot
for
of
sure.
really great bubbly vendors, especially like we have some really awesome bubbly photographers that we love to work with.
Yeah.
And we will recommend them over and over and over again because we know that it pumps up the bride and groom.
Yeah.
Because your photographer is like the bride and groom, that's who you're going to spend most of your day with. The planner, yes, absolutely. But we are like feet on the ground, eyes and ears. We are your person that's overseeing everything.
Yep.
You're going to spend the most time with your photographer and your videographer.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with that. I mean, being a photographer and videographer, like I'm with the couples all day. Like the only time I feel like I'm not with the couple is like the really maybe like intimate or private moments that they don't want photographer, videographer, or when they're eating. Like, that's like one of the times I'm not around.
35 minutes.
Yeah, 35, all 35
10 hours, yeah.
I'm like the photographer and the videographer kind of like help you as well, like navigate the wedding day, right? And they have to be working well together. And then that's where you guys come in too. Like you guys kind of guide the photographer and the videographer sometimes. Like if I have a question, first person I'm going to go to, wedding planner. So, or like day of coordinator, right? So, or like, whoever's there at the day who's been helping with the planning. That's like the first person I'm going to go to if I have any questions.
Right.
But typically, you have to have a videographer, photographer you get along with, right? And then also the wedding planners that you get along with. They have different philosophies. They have different, what do you call it? Like not emotions, but like mindsets, and like you just got to get along with them and vibe with them. And so that's why it's important, maybe go to an engagement session, even with a videographer. I think a lot of people miss that when you go on the engagement session, go with a videographer too, so that you can get to know your videographer. So, but yeah, so I have one question for you guys that I'm going to kind of end all my podcasts with. Do you guys have any crazy wedding stories?
Oh, geez.
I didn't give you guys any time to think about this, so. It could be anything. Like, it doesn't have to be about the couple. It can be about like the videographer was crazy or something. Something broke. I don't know.
So many weddings.
Whenever I get asked that question, I always have a really hard time answering it. I'm like,
I know.
I can't think of it. Then I'll like 10 minutes later, I'll like, oh wait, I do remember that one time.
Yeah. Let me think about this for like the next 24 hours.
Yeah. Well, while you guys are thinking about it, where can people find information about your planning services, Hearth House? Like, where are the places? So Instagram, socials, emails, websites, all of it.
And I'm sure you'll tag us, but
for sure.
you can find Autum and us on Autum and I on Instagram. Hearth House is our main home, so find us at hearthhousevenue.com, and then from there you can schedule a tour. You can see our available dates. You can see our family favorite vendor list, and go from there. So yeah.
Oh,
What else?
Instagram.
Yeah,
I think our handle
Instagram.
is Hearth House Venue.
I'll link in
And
the
then
in the
Facebook,
show
Hearth
notes
House
too.
Venue.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Nice.
All right. Crazy wedding story.
Yeah.
I can only think of one.
That's
It was last summer, and it wasn't here. It was at another venue. But the ceremony site is like way up here on top of this hill, and the bridal barn is down here. And I'm up there waiting, and I've got the family all lined up for the processional, and I'm like, where are these bridesmaids? Like, what is happening? And I like to run a tight ship, but I'm flexible on wedding day. Like, if we're running behind from pictures, whatever, chill.
that happens too.
It's fine.
Weather,
Stuff
all
happens.
this stuff. Yeah, Colorado.
But ceremony start time, no way. Like, these girls, they knew. Okay, they knew what time to be up here. So I had no choice. They weren't answering their phones, so I had to drive 5 minutes down and go see where they were. And I opened the bride barn, and they're in there taking TikTok videos.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, girls, like, ceremony, 5, like, we're 20 minutes ago. What are we doing? And they're like, sorry, we're almost done.
We're almost done.
Literally, the TikTok video was more important than getting on the aisle.
Oh no.
And then, anyways, we get up there, they get married, it's all fine and great. And then, throughout the night, it was just one mess after another, when drinking's involved. And they were a younger group, so
sounds like it. Yeah,
it was a little wild, but TikTok video. Come on, man.
Yeah, pick your bridesmaids carefully.
Yeah.
Or take the phones away.
Time into the timeline. No.
Build a TikTok timeline. Or take their phones away. Be like, you can have these back after the wedding.
Yeah. Turn off the Wi-Fi.
Airplane mode, everybody. Actually, airplane mode is a pretty good rule. Yeah. I always see, like, when I'm at weddings, it's like, please silence your cell phones. We have a videographer here. Like, you don't need to take video. Everybody's taking video.
Oh, yeah,
like, half my videos has, like, a phone in it.
Like, Uncle Charlie in the back with his freaking iPad.
Oh, yeah, the iPad.
You gotta put the iPad away. Yeah, it's the worst.
Yeah.
Do you have any crazy stories?
It's on the spot's not great for me.
Same here. It's okay if you don't have any, but
There was one wedding, and it wasn't here either. I don't want to talk about any here because I feel like
just leave it anonymous.
you know what I mean?
Every wedding here is so
Just say
great.
it was a wedding.
Everybody's perfect.
Yeah.
No, the things that I don't know. So there was this one wedding, it wasn't here, that all of the guests were supposed to be getting on a shuttle.
Yeah.
And the venue had a rule that the planner couldn't leave until all the guests were gone, which is a good rule.
Yeah,
I mean.
that makes sense.
And this planner, wasn't me, but this planner loaded like 15 drunk people in the back of her Suburban to drive them to Colorado Springs because
my gosh.
she couldn't leave. Like they were.
Yeah.
So anyways, I guess make sure that all your guests get on the shuttle.
That's a huge liability from a planner's perspective.
I know.
Because if she got into a car accident,
Yeah.
I know.
you're responsible for all those people.
Yeah.
No way. No
Also,
thanks.
why you got to get insurance. You guys mentioned it earlier. So.
Yeah. And
venue insurance.
we're not sticklers here on vendors on who gets to come in here, but we need to make sure that people that are selling a service to a client that they're legit and they carry insurance and they have the proper licensing to operate because it's a huge responsibility. So we might be a little strict on stuff, but it's all for good reason.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's
All for good
because-
reason.
And that's, it is super true. I mean,
Yeah.
some of the stuff we say, I feel like probably sounds a little bit cliche, but it truly is in the best interest of the couple.
Yep.
Because you're not going to know until it's quite literally too late and you're 2
And
hours
it's
into your
happened.
reception and your DJ is absolutely terrible and there's not music playing during your freaking unity ceremony and it's just like awkward silence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or your music is still playing and your ceremony already started.
The DJ's like off, like taking a break in the
Can't
middle of the
find it. Yeah,
reception, and it's like
exactly.
he's just playing a playlist somewhere. It's like
That's happened here
can't take
a
any
couple times.
requests. Yeah.
Which
yeah.
is why we're so thankful to have our all-inclusive package.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
The vendors you want to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have any unexpected surprises unless it's from the family members,
Right.
the guests.
But because, the vendor team is so great, it's easier to handle that kind of stuff. And do more. I mean, I've had a couple weddings that every wedding has their own family dynamics, as I'm sure you've experienced.
Oh yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
And it makes it a little bit easier for us as planners to sometimes, be supportive of the bride or whatever we need to do if we know that the DJ can stick to the timeline and us not have to breathe down their neck all night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we kind of went over
Yeah.
after that, but it was great speaking with you guys. Thanks for
having
being on the
us.
podcast, the first one. So
Yeah.
really excited.
Come back and see us.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll send you guys all the stuff, but yeah, Jess and Autumn, guys. So
Thanks. Bye.
see you guys.